Welcome once again to Heart of a Shepherd. Our study in the book of Proverbs continues today with chapter 20 and 21. And so this is the first of two video devotionals for today, and the focus is Proverbs 20. The title, To Drink or Not to Drink. Let's consider the study regarding alcohol, or some would say liquor, or wine, as it's stated in this passage. Now, Proverbs 20 is a chapter rich in spiritual truths that challenge almost every part of our life. And so I do encourage you to read the entirety of the chapter. However, our Bible study will focus only on chapter 20 and verse 1, and we'll consider the warning about wine and strong drink. And so we read, Proverbs 20 verse 1, Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Now, for the application, allow me to restate that proverb with my own amplification of word meanings. Let's begin again. Proverbs 20 and verse 1, wine. Now, in this sense, it's a fermented wine. Wine is a mocker. It scorns. It holds one in derision. A strong drink, literally intoxicating drink, is raging, or that is, it roars, it's full of trouble. And whosoever is deceived or led astray thereby is not wise. You know, many 21st century Christians advocate for tolerance regarding alcohol, and some have accepted drinking strong drink as a matter of personal liberty. Such an argument marks a significant departure from the traditional stance of Bible believers. Now, unfortunately, the silence from the pulpit on this issue has only encouraged the acceptance of wine and alcohol. And so therefore we ask, to drink or not to drink? What do the scriptures teach? Well, Paul challenged pastors in 1 Timothy 3 to be sober, literally temperate, and therefore not given to wine. In his epistle to Titus, Paul called on pastors, in this case bishops, to be blameless, not given to wine, Titus 1 verse 7. He also cautioned older women to be, and I quote, not given to much wine, Titus 2 verse 3. Well, let's put this in a historical context. Modern societies enjoy the blessing of clean, fresh water. However, this was not the case in ancient times, and really only until recent times. There was always a risk of drinking unsanitary, unpurified water in Solomon's era and during the apostles' time in the first century when Paul was writing. And so to kill germs and bacteria in drinking water, wine was mixed with the water, making it safe to drink. Historians suggest the ratio was 8 parts water to 1 part of wine. Well, without modern refrigeration, juices in the past would ferment in the hot climate of the Middle East. Therefore, diluting wine was necessary to slow down the fermentation process. Now, today, strong wine and other alcoholic beverages undergo distillation to increase their alcohol content to levels that were unknown in biblical times. Now, unlike the wine in the Bible, which was diluted with water, today's strong drinks are consumed primarily for their alcoholic, intoxicating effects. Now, what spiritual lessons can you and I learn from Proverbs 20 and verse 1? Well, let me make a couple of observations. The first is this: a man who indulges in wine or alcohol is unfit for the pastorate. Old Testament priests were not to drink wine nor strong drink, Leviticus 10 and verse 9. In the New Testament, scriptures warn pastors to be not given to wine, 1 Timothy 3 verse 2 and 3. And so understanding the wine of Bible times was not nearly as intoxicating as today's. You and I can be confident God has not lowered the standard for men in the ministry. Now, regarding believers, Solomon warned his son not to drink wine or strong drink. Again, Proverbs 20 and verse 1. Nor associate with drunkards. Let me invite you to consider Proverbs 23, verse 20 and 21. We read there that the king warns, "Be not among wine bibbers, those given to drinking wine, among riotous eaters of the flesh. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags." The virtuous wife and mother of Proverbs 31 warned her son, who was heir to the throne, "It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted." Proverbs 31, verse 4 and 5. Well, Paul warned believers in Romans 14 and verse 21 not to risk causing another believer to stumble and fall. Therefore, he wrote, "It is not good neither to eat flesh, that is meat offered to idols, nor to drink wine." Now, some believers cite 1 Timothy 5:23 as a reason for drinking wine and alcohol. And there we read 1 Timothy 5:23, "Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine often infirmities." Now, Paul, writing to the young preacher Timothy, apparently Timothy had stomach ailments. And rather than giving him liberty to drink wine, Paul urged him to take some wine solely for medicinal purposes. Of course, in the absence of medicines we have today. Now, there are many Bible verses, principles, and illustrations that emphasize abstaining from wine and alcohol in a believer's life. For instance, Hosea chapter 4, verse 11, Daniel chapter 1, verse 8, verse 10, 1 Corinthians 6, verses 9 and 10. Additionally, our society is full of examples showing the damage caused by alcohol use. For instance, cancers of the esophagus, mouth, pharynx, and larynx. Furthermore, alcohol's effect of lowering inhibitions can lead to spiritual failures and sexual immorality. And then lastly, in his letter to believers in Corinth, Paul writes, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Now, be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God." My friend, regardless of the argument that some of your friends might be making, and maybe even your pastor is guilty, the fact is that the Bible gives many admonitions regarding wine and strong drink. You and I would be wise to stay far from them. God bless, and bye-bye.